what's on the front pages and insides of the newspapers for the day, and also pick one or two stories and have a conversation, national conversation about. We start off with the Daily Statement. Says Works and Housing Minister laments poor attitude towards waste. By-election in the offing. Supreme Court bars NDC MP from Parliament. That's Assin North. And temporary structures for Apiati disaster victims ready soon. Also pay for the energy you consume. Energy Minister to Ghanaians. Well, some including state institutions. Charity begins from home, sir. Daily Guide. NPP constituency elections nominations open Tuesday. Also, it's over. Baga MP stripped. Our handover to NPP President Akufo-Addo, reiterating what he said at NPP at 25th anniversary. Kwewu Chief's rubbish injunction on book launch. The Ghanaian Times, Assin North MP barred from Parliament as Supreme Court upholds interlocutory injunction by a 5-2 majority decision. Energy Minister greeted with Dumso at Meet the Press. Okay. Deputy Lands Minister inspects temporary accommodation for Apiati, and Easter messages for the clergy pray for global peace and stability. BNFT. Export strategy leverages the Africa Continental Free Trade Area for $25.3 billion US revenue. Also have confidence in stock market. GSE urges investors. Inflation begins to reflect impact of Russia-Ukraine war, and petroleum revenue up by 18% despite dip in production. Finally, the Business Finder says ECG loses 3.2 billion Ghana cedis to power theft, with negative effect on operations. Dr. Opoku Prempeh is energy minister. EcoBank rewards 244 customers in double salary promo. Plus, ECG losses hit 22.1 billion Ghana cedis in 5 years. Our system losses rise to 30.31%. Kweku Ajiman Budu is Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Also this morning, we're privileged to celebrate the birthday of Komla Adum. He is with the 3 Newsroom. It is his birthday today. Happy birthday to Mr. Komla Adum. Also to Eliana Kekeli, Adelia Abra Kluche, turned 2 today. This is from your daddy Jewa and Komla Kluche here at TV3. Also to Godwin Otu Anan. Happy birthday to you. May your life be filled. This from Linda Brefi Wadie of the Spectator newspaper. I've been joined by 2 ladies, as you do know, is a tradition on Thursday. Lawyer Beatrice Annan is representing the NDC, and also Ellen Amadeko. She is a National Women's Organizer, hopeful of the New Patriotic Party. Good morning, ladies. Welcome.
Good morning, Charlie.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
This is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Made in Ghana.
It's made in Ghana.
Yeah.
It's a Women's Organizer spec.
Thank you.
Okay, I see. How's it going?
Oh, by God's grace, it's going well. Surprisingly, I'm getting encouragement and help and from surprising quarters.
From all of us.
And for that, I am grateful.
Oh, you support Amma as well?
Yes,
But
I support
who would you
Amma.
support?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just asking.
Amma is my
Can I not ask my questions
She
in
has
peace?
no choice.
I'm saying, can I not ask my questions in
No,
peace
you can't.
again?
Not between me and her. 100%. Beatrice has no choice. She has to support. In fact, we put in my T-shirt with the MPP emblem on it. And she'll be wearing it. So
I see.
yeah, we'll take a picture and send it to you.
I will be happy to project it.
She,
on
Gabriella,
I'll seal
Mago,
that part.
all the female NDC communicators who are my very good friends. Every one of them will be wearing my T-shirt. You see it, don't worry.
I hear you. B, how are you?
I'm good, but not too happy, but I'm good.
I see. Happy birthday to Mr. Kweku Boahin. He is the Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC. It's his birthday today. We have to call Kweku sometimes at 1 a.m. to try and get who they have selected to appear on the show on their behalf. So Kweku, happy birthday to you, and we wish you long life and prosperity. Yesterday, your Member of Parliament in Assin North was shown the exit by the Supreme Court, Justice Doche presiding, a 5-2 majority decision, restraining him from holding himself as a Member of Parliament and also performing parliamentary duties. Fair? Did you see it coming? Did you not?
Okay. First of all, let me say that the decision by the Supreme Court is inconsistent with the practice and the law as we have known for the past 30 years, and also as legal practitioners. It is not only inconsistent with the practice, it's inconsistent with the current laws on enforcing a judicial decision, and also even when it comes to how the interpretative jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is invoked. And so I disagree with the decision of the Supreme Court. I cannot, in my life as a student of the law, having regard to the jurisprudence that has been established for the past 30 years, come to a conclusion that this ought to be the decision. And if you read the dissenting opinions of Justice Agnes Doji, a woman I admire her tenacity, and that of Nena Megache, you will see that these two dissenting opinions are what we know to be the law. And so, in the majority opinion, I've read the 40-page decision. I do not know whether they are departing from the 30 years established judicial precedents that we know, because they didn't say they were departing. I am very confused. And I'm a bit scared as a practicing lawyer about how some of these things are turning out, because the primary role of every lawyer is to advise.
Right.
And we solve very complicated legal issues for individuals and corporations. And how do we solve these issues? We solve these issues on the basis of what we call stare decisis, judicial precedent. And so on the basis of precedent for 30 years, if I were a lawyer for Honorable Jashi Kwesen, I can be confident to tell him that on the basis of the established principle of law, laws which the Supreme Court, the majority opinion quoted, that injunction will not be granted. But surprisingly, that injunction was granted. And I say that that injunction, I disagree with the decision for two reasons.
Tell me.
When it comes to enforcing a decision of a high court, the Supreme Court has never been the forum for the enforcement. So like the celebrated decision in Marbury and Madison, even if you have a case in law, the question is that, have you gone to the right forum? The answer in this instant case is no. Because by established judicial precedent, the Supreme Court does not enforce the decision of the High Court.
Where would have been the right forum?
It would have been the High Court. And so when the court orders you to do an act or to abstain from doing an act, which is injunction, and the party breaches it, and you believe that that orders of the courts have been breached, the law says that you can enforce that decision through a committal process, which is a contempt process. And so the right thing, if the plaintiff, and for that matter, MPP, believe that something wrong has been done, you don't go. And that is why Justice Nena Megache said that this is a legal ingenuity. This is merely disguising an interpretative rate, or a rate, as I don't even know how to describe it, because it is not done that you will invoke a rate to interpret a constitutional provision, and then on the basis of a subsisting judgment, an injunction will be granted. You see, the danger in this precedent is that...
So you're saying the process was usurped?
Yes.
What would you say?
Yes, because the danger in this precedent is that anytime I have an issue with you, Johnny, and then we go to court and we win, I can just disguise whatever issue it is under constitutional interpretation, invoke the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and have you injuncted. But Johnny, most importantly, we have to be guided by our checkered history. And that is what law is, unless there is a need for us to develop the law in a different regard. We've had a lot of electoral or election petitions in this country. By the decision of the majority in Mr. Kwesen's case, what it means is that at the time the NDC went to court on allegations of constitutional breaches. Without even proving those allegations of constitutional breaches, the president could have been injuncted, because by the reasoning of the majority, those breaches are for the benefit of all Ghanaians. And so to the extent that all Ghanaians are stakeholders, that injunction should be granted. Then the president ought to have been injuncted. In the Adamu Sakande case, in the Wulensi by-election, in the Amu versus EC, in the Yeboah versus Mensa, all these are electoral related cases. None. Even in the Techiman South, none, because the courts are guided by judicial precedent. And also, they are guided by what we call on the balance of convenience. If you were to shift the scale, who is likely to suffer? And so in this particular case, Mr. Kweson's continuous acting as a member of parliament, what harm is it causing to the people of Ghana? For which reason he ought to be injuncted?
Well, so the MPP holds the view, for example, and Attorney General holds the view that, first of all, he was not qualified to put himself up for election because of his dual citizenship. And he even goes further after yesterday's judgment to say that he must suffer the fate of Adamu Sakande. Go to jail. That is literally what he's saying.
As for the Attorney General, the least said about him, the better.
Why?
Because for the first time in the history of Ghana, the Attorney General is practicing a certain kind of law that nobody understands. And even when you speak to MPP legal practitioners off the record, they also seem not to understand. Because if a court has granted an injunction, however wrong it is, the interpretation of that even is that pending the determination of the matter. So how does anybody who calls himself an Attorney General and who is presumed to appreciate the dictates of the law come to a conclusion that the seat ought to be declared vacant? So if the seat is declared vacant and the date is fixed for by-election, and in 4 weeks the Supreme Court presides over the substantive matter and says that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 94(2)(a), Mr. Kweson properly or was properly elected, what would happen?
So you mean he's jumping the gun?
The Attorney General, and you see, when he does that, his conduct, for me, I wouldn't even say it's a conduct, it's a misconduct on his part, because it appears to me that the Attorney General seems to suggest that he already knows the outcome of the substantive matter. Because without knowing the outcome of a substantive matter, it beats my legal mind how any person who is trained to be a lawyer can actually come to the conclusion the Attorney General came to. Perhaps he knows something we don't know. Perhaps he has some inside information we don't know. So maybe he should tell us the full fact so we can appreciate where he's coming from.
So in effect, you're saying that the Attorney General's commentary on the decision of the Supreme Court on this injunction, interlocutory injunction,
scandalizes the court.
And would have an adverse effect on the main substantive matter.
Exactly, because without the determination of the reliefs that the plaintiff have endorsed in this particular instance, how does any Attorney General come to the conclusion that this honorable member will suffer the fate of Adamu Sakande?
Well, maybe he's weighed the merits of the main issue, and he has decided that, well, Mr. Jachi Kweson brought this upon himself.
I have just told you that, let's make a clear distinction between the Adamu Sakande's case and the present case.
Right.
If you look at Section 21D of the People's Representations Law, which is PNDC Law 284, it has the title Cancellation of Election or a cancellation of election. In 21D, it says that an election will be cancelled if at the time of your election you were not qualified. Johnny, when was Mr. Kweson or Honorable Kweson elected? 7 December 2020.
That's right.
The certificate of renunciation which he has a date of 26th November. The law, and this is a specific law that governs cancellation or election. It says that at the time of election, and it is the duplicity of the plaintiff counsel and the MPP, because at every time at the High Court, at the Court of Appeal, the issue of interpretation of 94 was raised and said that because we have placed rivalry meaning, because we believe that in fact this is what it ought to be, you also say that this is what it ought to be by the decision of ex parte causa. The law says that when parties have placed rivalry meaning, what any trial court ought to do is to refer the matter. They opposed it. Even at the Court of Appeal, when we filed an appeal, we raised the issue. They opposed it. Having opposed it at the High Court, misleading the High Court judge that there was no issue of interpretation, having opposed it at the Court of Appeal, now you run to the Supreme Court. This is forum shopping. Is it the case that they believe that they will find a certain remedy at the Supreme Court in an easy manner? Because the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is not invoked as a matter of joke. Like Nana Megacha has said, this is a clear case of legal ingenuity. This is a clear case of, Justice Agnes Doji even said that this will amount to grave injustice to Mr. Honorable Quayson. And so I believe that we are setting very dangerous precedents in this country, and all of us must be very cautious.
Will the NDC go for a review on behalf of Mr. Quayson?
It is up to, us as a matter of strategy. But sometimes you even ask yourself, if the AG seems to suggest that he knows the outcome of these decisions, what would review do?
You got a 5-2 decision, not a 7-0.
Yes. There is a substantive matter. Are you going for the review of the ruling? This is just a ruling. There is a substantive matter that has not been decided.
But the Supreme Court has declared the seat vacant.
They haven't. No, the Supreme Court hasn't declared the seat vacant.
They have asked the man to restrain himself.
Yeah, but the seat is not vacant.
Yes, but then the Attorney General is urging the Electoral Commission
that's what I'm saying,
to declare it vacant.
As for the Attorney General, he's just on a scandalizing spree, because what he's doing, he's scandalizing the court, telling us that, you know what, as the Attorney General, I already know the outcome of the decision. So declare his just on a scandalizing spree, scandalizing the court. So we have to treat his comments with all the contempt it deserves. He's just an Attorney General who is full of himself, who thinks that he can use his prosecutorial powers to, pursue perceived opponents, worry opponents. Because what is the meaning of the fate, this man will suffer the fate of Adamu Sakandi? What is that statement supposed to mean?
I hear you. Ama, is the Attorney General, what do you call it, forum shopping, just to get what he wants done?
Good morning. Good morning to our viewers, and good morning to all the NPP incoming women organizers at the constituency level. We are going to have the elections in about 2-3 weeks.
Okay. Is that
for
close?
The constituency, yes.
Okay.
And so I would wish every one of them good luck. And for this year, it's been quite interesting. We have a lot of ladies, young women, contesting for all positions, from chairmanship to, all the positions in all the constituencies. For me, it's a feather in our cap. And so I encourage every one of them who wants to contest that they should contest.
Are they getting the needed support?
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah,
if you win, you win. And you do what you have to do to help the party to retain power.
I hear you.
If you don't win, it's an experience. You gain. About the...
Is the AG forum shopping?
I don't think so.
To get what
I know the AG personally.
Okay.
So, for the person I know and the work he's done over the years and what he's doing, I just think that Beatrice is just taking a dig at him. But as I say, it is the lawyers who have gotten their matter, so they can solve it. But the AG, as the person I know and in his professional competences, is doing his work. Unless she's telling us that he's not doing what he's supposed to do. Now, for him saying that Mr. the
Judge
Honorable,
Kwesi.
yes, Kwesi should suffer the same fate as Adamu Sakandi.
Right.
What has he said wrong? I also think he should suffer the same fate.
Why do you think so?
I think so because she can put in all the legal jargons that she wants to. The bottom line is, did the court determine that he stood for the election when he wasn't qualified? Yes. That was at the High Court level. Now, did he put in all the protests and the reviews and the, what do you call it, the appeals that he has to do? Yes. Is he allowed to do it? Yes.
But this is just an injunction.
And so, yes. And
so
is
the substantive matter is
we haven't
pending.
even gone there yet.
Right.
So is the AG also allowed to also have this injunction or put it across to the Supreme Court? Yes, he did. And the Supreme Court in the 5-2 decision have decided that he shouldn't hold himself up as the MP. You can protest, but that is the case. And if the AG has decided to put the two cases together, why not? It's Mr. Honorable Adramu Sakandi, may his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
Is Mr. Jechi
Kwesi
more of a Ghanaian than him? Is he? He's not. They are all Ghanaians, and they've both fallen foul of the law as it is. Today, because it is Mr. Kwesi, they haven't heard about it before. And the AG is the worst AG ever. The NPP are the worst political party ever. No problem. But when it was Adamu Sakandi's time, that they also, because they were in power at that time, did everything possible. He didn't just lose his seat, he went to jail. It was the law.
But it appears the AG knows something.
The AG doesn't know anything.
Because
I don't think the AG knows anything more than we all know.
The substantive matter has not been dealt with, but he's already making conclusions.
The Attorney General is a lawyer, isn't he?
Right,
he is the Attorney General.
Right.
And he just made his opinion that he believes that Mr. Kwesi should suffer the same fate.
He will suffer.
Whatever, whether he will, whether he believes. Well, he's sending him to court. I mean, remember, he's also in court for criminal. There's a criminal case also running against him. So if we are supposed to go by precedent, whatever happened to Mr. Adramu Sakandi definitely, logically, must happen to Mr. Kwesi. So for me, I believe it's the law that is at work. If we are not happy with the law, we should perhaps think about repealing it or changing it. But so far as those laws remain in our books, every Ghanaian who decides to stand as an MP with a dual citizenship will go through this.
Is the NPP party working through the Attorney General to ensure that the numbers of the NDC in Parliament are reduced by whatever means?
But isn't the NDC also working through the courts to also make sure that the numbers of the NPP are also reduced by whatever means?
So is that what you're doing? Is that what the party is doing?
It's politics.
Okay.
It's strategy. We are having a whole issue in Parliament. I mean, there are questions on a lot of MPs, their seats. There are queries on it. People do not agree. I mean, Banda in my region, Banda Honorable Ahmed, he's the MP with Joe Dankwa.
Ahmed Banda.
Yes, with Joe Dankwa, who was
the deputy leader in Parliament.
Yes, who was also a former MP. I've been in court for the past how many months, over 43 votes.
Have they been indicted?
They are also in court. So for me, I believe that the NDC is also in court in a lot of places with the MPP, MPs. So for me, it's not a matter of somebody wants them out. It's a matter of we all want our cases to be heard. And may the right person win. If by the end of the win, it means the NDC loses some members, so be it. If by the end of whichever case, the MPP also loses some members, so be it. That is why the courts are there. And that is why we shouldn't bastardize the courts, because every one of us will take our cases to them. Now that the cases, the thing has turned against you, you are up in arms screaming. But when it turned against Mr. Adamu Sakandi, it was good news.
Mr. Okujo believes that the likes of Honorable Ajwa Safo, Henry Quartey, Kennedy Japan must be treated in the same vein that Judge Kwesi is being treated, so that you also go for their seats. They also will come for their seats.
What sort of logic is that? They should be treated in the same vein as in, are they also being accused of having dual citizenships?
Well, he says go for their seats as well because
Go for their seats in relation to what?
Adamu Saka, Jachi Question's seat.
You know, it's interesting. I find it funny and interesting. As I said, because today it is Mr. Kwesi. Now the blood is red. But when it was Mr. Adramu Sakandi, the blood was pink. They should let us have peace of mind. They should let us have in tree. We say it's this is what the law is saying. They are fighting tooth and nail. They are entitled to it. But when the results come, they should take it as it is.
Beatrice says you should have gone to the right forum. You should have gone back to the Supreme, the High Court. So the High Court, Ellen gives me a cap of this beautiful mug of TV3. Beatrice takes it from me. I will have to come back to you and tell you Beatrice has taken the cap, not to go to my producer to say the cap that Ellen gave to me is what Beatrice has taken from me. Do you agree?
Johnny, I am not interested in going into the technicalities of the matter. Obviously, I am not a lawyer yet.
You are.
A student of the law.
I'm a student. I am not a lawyer yet, so I do not want to. I do not want to go into the technicalities.
The senior says you have been taught in judgment.
I want to just go to the end results of it. The end result is that Mr. Kwesi cannot hold himself up as MP.
That's all. I hear. Beatrice, so where do we go from here? What does the NDC intend to do?
Before I speak about where we go from here, it's important that I make a distinction for the benefit of viewers.
Right.
The case of Adamu Sakandi is materially and legally different from the instant case of Honorable Justice Kwesi. You cannot even compare. And I'm very certain in my mind that even though Ellen didn't want to talk about the legalities, she's a law student. She's in final year. She would have been taught injunction. She would have been taught what we call judicial precedent, stare decisis, and how we decipher cases. For this debate, it's not even about law. We can have it because she has the basis.
So you think she's holding back?
She will have to speak about it. She will speak about it because in the case of Mr. Adamu Sakandi, even after his election, even after he had been challenged, he still held on, or he still held his British passport. He had not even taken any positive step to renounce it. So prima facie, he had a different citizenship. In this particular case, the person took a positive step to renounce it as far back as 2019. A whole year before even the nomination period. And even suffices to say that despite the positive act, he was challenged at the time he filed nomination that he was not a citizen. And he presented that certificate
of renunciation
to the EC. The EC looked at it and was satisfied. That is why for the first time in this matter, the EC is agreeing with the NDC that the remedy for the MPP is not to run to you like babies whose food has been snatched away. The right remedy is to go back to the High Court to enforce. And so the facts in the Adamu Sakandi case are materially different because it is basic that for any crime to be established, you have to establish what we call the mentia and the actus reus. This Ellen knows. Mentia is the state of mind. Actus reus is the act. And so we have to look at whether with Adamu Sakandi's case, he had the state of mind to either renounce the citizenship or keep it, even after his election. So these are materially different. And I heard Ellen say that if the Attorney General thinks that this is the strategy to reduce the number, why not? Because we are also in court. Let me say that sometimes the MPP must credit everybody with a little bit of smartness. They are not the only smart people. In fact, I doubt if we can even make that comparison of smartness. But let's not even go there. Mr. Jesse Kwesi won that seat with 54%. It's not a 50.1 or a 51 or anything. No. Won 54%. This is a seat that is even traditionally held by the MPP. So he practically snatched the seat for the NDC. He is so popular on the ground that your own people are those who root for him. He's so popular. So if this is the strategy, if you go for by-election next week, I can confidently tell you that Mr. Jesse Kwesi will contest again. He will win this time, even with a higher margin, and we are back to cost 90.
Did they not see the red flags on the eve of when they were sworn in, when the speaker was elected, on the night when the speaker was elected? I understand there was a certain injunction from a Cape Coast court asking him not to partake in the process. And he went ahead and did it.
No. Johnny, in law, we say that service goes to jurisdiction. And service is so crucial in the determination of every matter because of what we call the principle of natural justice. So if you have a matter with me, however valid and sound your case may be, if I have not been served, no court will hear you. And not just service, but service in accordance with law, so that even though the law requires that you are served, the law further requires that you are served in a certain manner. A typical example is that it is only bailiffs who can serve a court process. So if I had the matter against you this morning, I cannot just come to the studio and hand you the writ. It is not done. So if I bring you a writ, or I even send it to you via WhatsApp, you may have seen it, but that is not service in accordance with law. So if you go and secure a certain ex parte injunction without he being heard, and you give it to a certain dispatch rider to come and say that I'm looking for somebody else and hands it over to the wrong person, it is not service. And so we say that the jurisdiction of the court has not been properly invoked. And where it goes to jurisdiction is null and void. So he can decide to say that I have heard in the news that I've been injuncted, but I've not been served, and I'll carry out. It is the reason they know that they could not go for contempt, because he had not done anything within the space that injunction was granted on 6th January. He had not done anything within even after the judgment when he was injuncted, because he had recourse to other legal processes to aid him in acting. And so, like I'm saying, they were behaving like crying babies. Let's go to mommy. Then they filed a writ invoking the jurisdiction. But I have to say that integrity is important. And so this approbation and reprobation on the part of the legal team, and for that matter, the Attorney General, is not a very beautiful sight to behold as every lawyer. And I pray that we don't become such lawyers of no principle, that at the High Court, you oppose, you hold a certain opinion, you believe in law that there is no interpretative issue for which reason they should be referred. At the Court of Appeal, you held the same stand, and then you turn around. That kind of practice of law without principle, I pray that God should never even veer me to that, because it's not a very beautiful thing to behold.
Is the NDC ready for a by-election?
The NDC will fight this matter with every strength legally and all options available to us. We have demonstrated this in the past, that even though consistently decisions have not been in our favor, we have not reneged on our collective resolve to fight anything we deem injustice by whatever means. But even in the event that the last resort is a by-election, I can confidently tell you that this government is the most unpopular government in the Fourth Republic. This government is a government that have mismanaged the lives of everybody in this country including the people of Assin North. And so we will go into that by-election if it is our last resort, and we will give our candidates a resounding victory. But they should watch their back because we are coming for some of their seats.
I hear you. We'll take a break. I won't return. We'll hear from Mama Dekru, and I'm sure she's taking a few notes as well. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, and thank you very much. It's TV3Newday. My guest in studio, Elena Madeku. She is a National Women's Organizer, or hopeful of the New Patriotic Party, and also Beatrice Annan is a lawyer. She's a member of the NDC's Legal and Communications team. Ellen, before the break, B had some key questions to raise. If push comes to shove, they're ready for the by-election. But before that, they will go every length that they can to fight this legal tussle and make sure that they win it. What say you?
As for the by-election, both political parties will fight tooth and nail. So if they are ready, we are also ready. After all, as she said, the seat is traditionally not theirs. It was by some issues, internal issues, that made them win it this time. And we've corrected the internal issues. So as for the by-election, we are ready. We are waiting. But before we get to the by-elections, they still have to jump these legal hurdles. And that is what I am. This morning, I'm a bit, this is not the typical Ellen. So I'm a bit, it's like...
You're laid back.
I'm a bit laid back.
Why are you laid back?
What
do you know that we don't know?
I'm a bit laid back about it is because I'm enjoying the pain and the stress they are going through. I know I'm being wicked, but I'm really enjoying it because I see it as a form of karma. This is the sort of pain and stress that we went through, that Mr. Adamu Sakande went through, that his family went through, that all of us went through. It's like we are not seeing the bottom line of this whole matter. We can scream for all we want on whoever's matter that comes up. But this law, for me, I think we should be taking a look at this dual citizenship law. Because we have most of our citizens, our people, who are living outside Ghana, or who are dual citizens, who can do so much for us. But this law keeps, limiting them on so many fronts. And so we should take a look at that law holistically, because it doesn't matter which political party you belong to.
So then what? Allow for people
my opinion on it, there are certain positions that if you do have a dual citizenship, you should, we should even go near. A place like the presidency. Right. A place like maybe the Chief Justice, the Speaker of Parliament. Those positions that I feel are so sensitive, you shouldn't go near. But a position like an MP, for me, we have so many of our people. Don't we have political party branches outside Ghana? We have NPP UK, we have NDC UK, we have all those branches. Right. So our people there who are part of the people who contribute to our parties, so they don't have a right to also stand if they want to come and they have worked in the constituencies. So we have to take a look at it, because otherwise we are going to get both people from both sides of the divide and from other political parties who are going to suffer this. So as for Mr. Kwesi in particular, as a person and at this particular time, as I said, I'm being wicked this morning. I really don't have any sympathy for him.
Have you had the NDC's, if you like, some elements within the NDC and even on social media all across, saying that, well, when you tell them to go to court, it means that you know what you have prepared there, and you're so confident that, well, go to court. It will not be in your favor.
When in 2012, Mr. Mahama sent this whole, the NPP sent the election to
8
court.
months legal tussle.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Mr. Mahama won. Did they win because they had set up all the Supreme Court judges were their people? Is that what they are telling us? That all the Supreme Court judges, they won because they had put their people there. So when it is in your favor, it is good. When it is in my favor, it is bad. And that's why I said this morning, I'm really enjoying their sadness and their stress, because it is a very nice way of karma paying them back and paying them back in the space and at a higher level. They can scream for all you want, but Beatrice can say they are not the same. Of course, there are no two cases that can be exactly the same. in terms of facts, in terms of circumstances. They are two different cases. But the outcomes are practically the same.
What do you say also to those who suggest that following Mr. Kandapa's commentary that the judiciary should not always tilt their decisions in their favor or in our favor is what might have brought this 5-2? Because
I think we should not even...
The people out there...
We shouldn't even talk about it. Are you trying to tell me that...
I am not saying...
That, whoever they are they trying to tell me that Neda Amagache, his lordship, is so light in his thinking and his everything for over how many years? And the other lady, her ladyship, and the one you mentioned, the two dissenting judges.
Mrs. Agnes.
Mrs. Doji, right? Her ladyship is also so, with all due respect, light in her thinking that because the National Security Minister made a statement, so they'll go and change their judgment. Is that what they are trying to say? We want to give this one currency. Okay.
Let's move away from it unless you have something you want to...
For me, over the years, I have learned that anybody who rises through the ranks and gets to the position of a Supreme Court judge did not just get there just like that. And it will take, what will it take for him to change? Who is he scared of? They've been through so much that, these are people who can look presidents in the face and tell them their peace of mind and go their way. So just because Mr. Kandapa, and no disrespect to him, he's a national security minister, have made a statement, and within 2 days, they'll go and change their judgment or their way of thinking. Are you trying to tell me that their dissent is not sound? What they said. Isn't that what Beatrice is standing on this morning and making her case?
But there are MPP stalwarts who have disagreed with Mr. Kandapa.
Of course. We are...
Including the head of the legal team of the NPP.
In the political party, because we are all not robots, and we are not all tuned to the same level, we are going to have dissent. You're not going to get everybody to agree with everybody.
But the head of the legal team says...
It doesn't matter. The head of the legal team has his views. Mr. Kandapa he does not have to agree with him. But that does not mean that the whole two justices of the Supreme Court will just change their decision because Mr. Kandapa said something.
Okay.
Johnny, let me say that I think the observation by the Honorable Kandapa...
National Security Minister.
Yes. For me, was a very worrying observation as an officer of the court, because we all know that within the framework we've established for ourselves, the court is practically like our last resort. And so if he, as head of national security or national security minister, will caution judges at a sensitization program, I think we shouldn't treat it like as an aside. We shouldn't think that is a lightweight, because you know that the national security would normally undertake some internal polls. They normally have some intelligence that you and I would not have.
Right.
And so for him to say that, knowing the repercussion and even how it will be interpreted or misinterpreted, it means that all is not well. And I believe that at that program, the judges will take notice of it and will do the right thing, because no matter what we have, no matter our reservations, we still have the court as our only forum. And this takes me back to Nanado's saying in 2016.
The precedent.
When he said that if people don't trust the democratic systems we've established for ourselves, very soon militants on their side will take the law into their hands. I think that every political party has militants on their side, and so it is important that justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. That is so crucial, so that even if you hold the opinion that somebody is guilty even before the trial as a judge, based on your prejudices, you ought to give that person an appearance of justice, so we are satisfied that the institution which we've all established for ourselves, especially the court as our last resort, is there to uphold the integrity of the law, because I am still at a loss what he means by every time when the decision is in our favor. Because the presumption is that judges apply the law even if you don't agree with them. So even if he, as a member of the MPP, has cause to worry that every time the decision seems to be in our favor, then I think that we even have a bigger issue on our hand than we think.
I hear you. Let's go to Kwawu or Easter. Ellen, I hear you are packing people to Kwawu to go and do what?
Who is packing people?
You're packing. Are you not donating things this?
Yeah, but the fact that I'm donating doesn't mean that I'm packing anybody.
But your friends are coming along with
go
you.
and
Your friends are coming along with you. They are not coming.
They are.
They are not.
Well, my friends who are Kwewus are coming.
Yes, so they are packing behind you.
Well,
With the goodies.
For me, this year's Kwewus celebration, it's a good thing for us. You know, I'm half Kwewu. My father is from Abitifi, so it's a good thing for us. The past 2 years, we haven't celebrated it because of COVID,
Right.
and it's just been heavy on the whole community and on the whole all the Kwewu people, because you know it's Easter that we meet at Easter. That is when family comes home,
Right.
so we meet and have our family meetings. I mean, there are issues to be sorted. So it's a whole social thing for us, and let's call it our festival. In
Okay.
quotes. So when you don't have it for 2 years, I mean, some of us haven't seen some family members for 2 years.
2 years.
There are issues that needs to be resolved in the last 2 years we haven't done. And economically, I can bet you that before COVID hit, you know, COVID hit just around this time.
Yes.
And a lot of people had made so much investments into their hotels, you know, bought food, bought things. And
12 March,
it was
2020.
2020 was hell for us. So this year, we are asking everybody who wants or had made plans to come that nothing should deter you from coming. Please come. And this year, we are also having a few other activities. I mean, there's a book, and you just read about it, that the Kwewu chief said is coming on. Yes, it is. There's a book called the Kwewu Book. It's not just for the Kwewu people. It's being done by the Commission of, I think, Center for Culture. They are doing it for all...
Commission on Culture, National Commission on
National
Culture.
They are doing it for all the tribes in Ghana. So I think we are the 5th. They've done it for the Assin, they've done it for the Anglo state, they've done it for the Bono state. They've done, what they are doing is that they are recording the peoples and the chiefs. Since, I mean, we can remember. Right. By tradition, we have always passed down our history through oral history.
Okay.
And that is where it gets distorted.
That's right.
And that's why we have so many chieftaincy, you know, disputes. So this book is intended to actually put down who is who in the town, who started, I mean, who is to which stool or which clan, all that. And so it's time for it was supposed to be done before COVID. In fact, in 2020, we were supposed to launch it, and COVID happened. So this year, we are doing it at the Impriaso Social Center. And on Saturday, the president will be there to launch it. And then on Sunday, the Abitifi is celebrating 30 years of his coronation. So it's a very
I hear
easy.
you.
And hopefully the economics and the money will start coming back to our places. And then people should
But is
come
the money
early.
available now?
Oh yes, it is.
The money
For
is
those who
available.
want to.
For those who have,
those
or
who,
for those who
want to celebrate, and the business people and those who are willing to spend, they can spend. And there are lots of other tourist attractions. As for this year, I have turned into Kwewu ambassador, and there are, of course.
I hear you. Beatrice,
Oh no, but I mean,
are you
I have to
ready
talk
for Easter?
Well, before I
Do
answer
say,
that,
I mean, how can she be ready for it?
before I answer that question, I want to say, even though I know you've wished Kweku Boy
right.
happy birthday, when we were in school in Tane and all that, he was one of the people who ran to anytime we had issues with Tane and all that. So I just want to say a happy birthday to him. In NDC, irrespective of your background, we are one family. We don't do family and friends. We belong to everyone, and my association with all of them have shown that it's a good family to belong to. So on this day, I want to say, may God bless him, more health, money, and FTs. I think they understand what it's
Okay,
so
is he related to Professor Albert Edubuahin?
I have no idea, but I don't think so.
First time I heard the word FT. It's okay. Are you ready for Easter?
I am not ready for Easter.
Why are you not?
This morning I was scanning through some data and I realized that for the first time in 13 years, we have the highest inflation. Food inflation is highest for the first time in almost 2 decades. For the first time in the Fourth Republic, Bonga Hafo has recorded the highest inflation level of 23.5%. What this means is that the policy rate, the lending rate, and all other setup within the financial structure will be affected. Salaries have not been increased. Purchasing powers of people have reduced. I heard this morning on Joy FM that people who do laborers are complaining that people are not even building again, so they are not getting the money. The state of the economy is terribly bad. We can only stay in our homes and celebrate.
The president would disagree with you.
The people who may be going to Kwewu are maybe the action part of this government and other members of this government who have money.
The president would disagree with you that the economy is terrible.
Because the president doesn't pay for his food, he doesn't pay for clothing, he doesn't pay for anything. So he will not know how the economy is. His increase his salary by over 100%. If every worker's salary was increased...
When did he increase it by 100%?
Let's fact check.
There are some things you have to talk about.
But that is a proposal.
It's a proposal.
That's a proposal.
Has he increased it?
It's not big.
I
will not allow you to.
Has he rejected the proposal?
Well, it's not been approved yet.
But has he rejected it?
It has not been approved. So
But
the president has not.
Parliament
Nobody
approved.
said that he approves it. The president has not increased his salary. Let us get that straight.
Okay, the president
has not gotten a salary increment since 2017.
Nobody has. I mean, and then let's also put it, if there's an increment,
but
the former president will also receive some.
Former presidents.
All former presidents, they will all receive some.
Yes.
And they have not received any.
Okay, so so allow me.
I'll not allow you to peddle a falsehood.
Allow me.
You can now continue.
So, ordinary Ghanaian, unlike the president's children who have appointments on boards and other things, we don't have that. The ordinary Ghanaian is actually suffering. Things are hard. We've heard from the president, we've heard from the vice president, we've heard from the finance minister. They have no remedies, no new ideas, no new structural changes, no new shake-up. And it appears there is even no plan to make it better. And so we will wallow in the kind of economic condition we are wallowing in. And these guys, because they are comfortable, they don't care about us. So this Easter, perhaps to be the driest form of Easter, the fact that some hundreds of people will gather at Kwewu is not a reflection of the living standard of people. Because if you were buying fuel at 32 cedis, even as of December 2020, today you are buying fuel, a gallon for almost 45. If you're buying iron rods of some 2,800, today you are buying the same iron rods for 5,300. If you are paying fees for your child 200 or 2,000 cedis, today you are paying 4,000 cedis. So things are continuously being increased without a corresponding improvements in the standard of living of the people, and so we are in a mess, Johnny. I'm sorry to say, we are in a mess. Okay. There is no solution. There is no hope.
You don't believe what Dr. Baumia said?
Dr. Baumia hasn't said anything.
The solutions that have been
Johnny,
put in place.
I challenge you.
The president has said that the reforms are going to be formidable.
Dr. Baumia has not given us a single solution. What solution did he propose? Can you tell me one? He hasn't proposed any solution. He spoke for 2 hours, 18 minutes. He didn't say a single thing that should be done, except to say that the finance minister has come to repeat things which are already contained in the budget or directives which have been given in the past and were never improved. So Dr. Bawumia is even not in the equation when it comes to solving our economic challenges. He has lost the path. His own prescriptions when he was in opposition is not working for him. So these guys have no plan for us. There is no hope. I have no hope. I can only hope that my clients will bring me some good briefs to enjoy. But if it has to do with macroeconomic indicators, I have no hope in this government.
I hear you. Amma, you are hopeful, aren't you?
Well, first and foremost, Dr. Bawumia did what he had to do. And he gave solutions and the way forward. We have already had that discussion. I mean, the past 2 weeks.
She said no
I do not expect. I do not expect.
You should say one.
I do not expect anything good.
I'll be
to
so
come
happy
from.
if she can
That's your friend. She's asking you to name one.
I do not expect anything good or any positive comment to come from.
But you have a you have a blank check. She said name one.
It is my blank check. It is my amount that I want to write. So let me write my amount.
You're writing.
I do not expect anything good to come from Beatrice and the NDC. It looks like they listened to Dr. Bawumia more than the rest of us.
I said name
because
one.
they were able to calculate the number of hours he spoke down to the minutes, and I'm sure down to the seconds. So I would say that Dr. Bawumia did what he had to do. The second thing is that
what one solution? That's what she wants to know. She wants to know.
I don't answer to her. The second
you don't
thing
want
is
to.
The people
this is an opportunity for you to
about my
sell. Hold on.
This
is an opportunity for you to sell.
The people of Kwawu has been celebrating.
This is an opportunity for you to sell.
Easter.
You don't want to sell
Easter in Kwawu for the past millennia. Let me say it. All these years we have been celebrating our Easter. It is not a matter of a government that will let the people of Kwawu celebrate their Easter. We are known for what we are in Ghana. We are already drunk before the Brunya comes. So this thing about people from Achim coming to Kwawu, yes, they are invited. Of course, they are brothers. They are prepared to come. Everybody from Ghana, all over Ghana, who is interested in knowing about Kwawu should come.
I hear you.
But to make it seem as if it is the MPP that is going to celebrate,
I hear you.
Don't offend the Kwawu.
Thank you very much. But you didn't mention one solution that Dr. Brown.
As I said, this is my blank check. I have decided to use my check.
You cannot
to promote
the negative.
Okay.
You can't prove the
because
negative.
I do not have to prove anything to Beatrice and the NDC.
I hear you.
It doesn't matter what Dr. Bawumia will do. Just like how it doesn't matter what Mr. Mahama will do. Me, I don't want to hear.
Let me quickly.
So it's all about Kwawu.
I hear you. Well, my friends from Jekiti are also sending me messages. They're saying that Jekiti will be exciting this Kwawu season.
That one too. There are people going to celebrate.
Well, the National Labour Commission has ordered the College of Education Non-Teaching Staff Association to call off their strike, and it's directed the leadership of the association to call off their strike. And also the NLC ruled that CENTAG did not follow due process before embarking on the strike, thereby rendering it illegal. In a previous meeting at the invitation of the National Labour Commission, CENTAG was directed to engage with their employers and return on the 30th of March to report that outcome for the Commission's consideration and decision. However, they failed to do so and quickly rallied their members to embark on an indefinite strike. Fair Wages and Salaries Commission filed a complaint with the NLC for a declaration of the strike as CENTAG failed to exhaust all the lawful mechanisms for the resolution of industrial disputes and also failed to give the required 7 days clear notice on of their intention to strike. Following today's ruling, the employers, GTEC has invited CENTAG to a meeting tomorrow at 8 a.m. That's today, subsequent to CENTAG calling of the strike as under the law, Labour Law Act 651, there can be no such engagement during a strike. Happy birthday to Mr. Kweku Boahin. He's the Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC. Also, happy birthday to Priscilla Afi Aram Jabba. This is from a police officer with some Dixon. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday also to Godwin Otu Anan. This is from your wife and your mom as well, Linda Briefy Wadi of the Spectator newspaper. Well, Linda is not your wife, sorry. So Linda Wadi of the Spectator newspaper. I'm not supposed to be contracting marriages on end. Eliana Kekeli, Delia Abra Krucheg. You're 2 years today. Happy birthday to you. My niece is from Ejewa, your mom and your dad. Congratulations. If it's your birthday as well, happy birthday. Thanks to Ellen Amadeko of the NPP. She's a National Women's Organizer,
One of my aunties, Mr.
and
Mapando,
also
Elizabeth.
Beatrice Annan. She's a lawyer and of the NDC as well. Say the name properly, please.
Mrs. Elizabeth Amapando.
Okay.
For me and her son.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
All right. Beatrice, you have no birthday wish again?
No, she doesn't.
Okay. You have court.
Yes, I have court.
She's going to litigate as usual.
I wish that's where her bread is buttered.
Yes,
And then she'll sit here and,
She said she wants good brief. Do you have one? Give her.
that is her
We'll see you
cup
after
of
the
tea.
break.
She'll go and meet the judges.